the smartest film critic in the world, Cole Smithy.
Hi, this is Cole Smithy with ColeSmithy.com and your guide to what to see and what to avoid at the movies this week. There is no way to sugarcoat it. Paul Thomas Anderson has made 2 duds in a row.
But I do know that I love you, and I know that if you love.
It's the tail end of the psychedelic 60s, and paranoia is running the day.
If his lackluster half-film The Master didn't put you off the director responsible for such instant classics as Hard 8, Boogie Nights, Magnolia, and There Will Be Blood, then his latest effort will make you doubt if he is capable of ever returning to the height of his former glories. Based on Thomas Pynchon's 2009 novel about the adventures of Doc Sportello, played by Joaquin Phoenix, a stoner hippie private detective living in a fictitious LA town, Inherent Vice is a tweet arf arf movie for stoners. The film seems custom-made for dope smokers to watch while amending their vapes with an occasional line or two of cocaine. There really isn't any other way for said potheads to stay awake for the film's occasional, read rare, flashes of humor, sex, and violence that intersperse the movie without a few snorts of amphetamine. The rest of us can take a nap. Certainly when Phoenix's lethargic, facial hair-obsessed Doc is finally spurred into erotic action by his horny, submissive ex-girlfriend Shasta, played by Katherine Waterston, the momentarily pleasant event arrives as a literal and figurative climax. After Shasta plays with herself for an extended period of time, she lays nude across Doc's lap before he finally gets the message. Doc spanks Shasta's bare butt like an amateur dom before slamming her from behind to give the movie more narrative meaning than it expresses before or after the pornographic scene.
And his wife and her boyfriend, and a plot to kidnap the billionaire and throw him in a loony bin.
I need your help, Doc.
Maybe you should just look the other way.
Anderson continuously wheels out outlandish characters inhabited by objectively competent actors. Josh Brolin is endlessly watchable as lunatic LAPD Lieutenant Detective Bigfoot Bjornson. Bigfoot is a reliably unreliable cop who is just as likely to go on a bad lieutenant spree as he is to carry on a civilized conversation. Benicio del Toro is squandered in a poorly defined supporting role as Sancho Smilax, a maritime attorney who comes to Doc's rescue at various times. At 2 1/2 hours, Inherent Vice wears out its welcome before the halfway mark arrives. A parade of personalities prattles on in endless monologues and offhand comments that are simultaneously colorful and utterly meaningless. Empty plot machinations swirl around Shasta's involvement in a scheme to swindle a billionaire real estate magnate out of his fortune by committing him to a mental institution. 70s-era trappings of free love, drugs, and endemic corruption add up to a recipe for irrelevant narrative chaos. The 70s-era dead-end characters of Inherent Vice are representative of a long-dead gone generation.
That I love you, and I know that if you love me too, what a wonderful world this would be.
The best thing the movie does is remind us that we too will wither and die, some sooner than others. Eat some pizza, smoke a bowl, have some hot sex. Any of these experiences will far exceed the one you'll have watching Inherent Vice. I give this disappointing picture a C-. My sleeper pick is Magician, the astonishing life and work of Orson Welles. And my guilty pleasure pick is Liv Ullmann's Miss Julie. My must-have DVDs are Red Hollywood from Cinema Guild, The Little Bedroom from Cinema Libre, and It Happened One Night from the Criterion Collection. The influence of William Friedkin's groundbreaking serial killer procedural Cruising is evident in David Fincher's masterpiece of the subgenre. The director employs shocking results of violence that reciprocate Friedkin's provocative use of outre displays of gay sexual expression in New York's public sex clubs for cruising. Fincher detonates periodic gross-out grand guignol elements to sustain a morbid sense of nagging suspense. Progressively nastier aftermath scenes of dead torture victims rotting in squalid rooms, as decorated by the killer himself, compress the film's brutality into a cinematic pressure cooker. We don't witness the savagery being committed, but we palpably feel its effect. From a production design standpoint, the outrageous crime scenes are gorgeous examples of inspired cinematic artistry. An unspeakable act of hyper-violence promises to fulfill the story's dramatic arc, even if the audience isn't allowed to see it. Morgan Freeman's veteran police detective William Somerset is 7 days away from retirement. The inveterate bachelor is ready to leave the noisy, unnamed city behind for a house he has waiting in the burbs. Complications arise. A murder victim is discovered. He is a morbidly obese man who was gruesomely forced to eat his way to death. Gluttony. Following murder discoveries reveal individually tailored killings related to the 7 deadly sins: gluttony, greed, sloth, pride, lust, envy, and wrath. Before the film's end, each of the biblical transgressions will be tangibly represented in order and in blood. The first murder coincides with Brad Pitt's hot-to-trot new guy detective David Mills being teamed up with Somerset. Mills's 5 years of working homicide in another city haven't prepared him for a case like this one, and Somerset senses that his new partner is in over his head. Over the following days, Mills gradually earns Somerset's begrudging respect with some assistance from Mills' anxious Midwest wife Tracy, played by Gwyneth Paltrow. Tracy's dinner invitation to Somerset results in a bonding event that sticks in the viewer's mind. The heart of the story rests in the budding friendships between Somerset, Mills, and Tracy. The attachment of the 3 compatible individuals creates a calming substance of extended family of which the audience is an integral part. That it is this very thing that allows Kevin Spacey's ominous psychopath John Doe to complete his series of 7 horrors at the trio's expense elevates the film's coldly ironic denouement. Although he had directed Alien 3, 7 is the movie that put David Fincher on the map.
He didn't know.
The film's iconic look and lighting design led to it being copied so much that it's reasonable to forget that 7 was the model. Even its kinetic title sequence established a fresh template to be emulated. You walk out of the movie feeling like you've been sucker punched. Few films pack such a wallop. Thanks for watching, and visit ColeSmithy.com for more.